Good morning, everyone. I'm Mackie Shilstone, and joining me is Spencer Shilstone, my son, who's a corrective exercise specialist and performance coach. If you remember, last week we introduced isometric exercise because of my reading of a British Medical Journal article which specifically talked about isometric exercise. That's where the muscles are contracted but no movement, and it had an effect on lowering blood pressure. Last week we got and showed you the wall sit, and that was one of the exercises in the study. This week we're going to show you the things we've talked about before here, but we're going to give you a variation, but we're going to hold the position, that being the plank, the prone and the side plank. And again, remember, when you're doing these exercises, it's very important to breathe because we're going to be in a static hold position. So Spencer, here we go.
And just to note about breathing, when you're not breathing, time gets slower and it's going to feel like you're doing this a whole lot longer. All right, so to get started, Mackie's going to get into a prone plank position. He's going to have his elbows down in a shape kind of like this. That way it balances out his weight. And when he's doing this, he wants to make sure of two things: that his butt is not sticking up, and also that his back is not overly arched. So how do you do that? You brace the core. That's how it's going to happen. All right, so clench the butt, pull the belly button in.
For how long?
Well, you want to try to aim for a full minute, but we're going to do 30 seconds intervals. So right now he's going to be doing this, and then we're going to have him switch to a side plank. So when he switches, I want him to have control while doing it. All right, so go ahead and get into a side plank. All right. So as you can see, he's leaning slightly forward onto his side. So we want to make sure that he turns his chest out and keeps that butt in line. How is he going to do that? Well, he's got to stabilize himself during all of this. So he's going to hold this for about 30 seconds. Now that 30 seconds is going to feel like an eternity, especially if you have that clock in front of you. So now we're going to switch the other way. Why don't we switch it and we go this way so we can show everybody the front. All right. So turn around. There we go. We want to face the camera, don't we? All right. So now when he's doing the plank, one of the things that you want to look at from the front end, if you're doing this in a mirror, is to not let your hips drop down. When they drop down, you're not getting that full benefit. What we're trying to work out are the muscles right here on the sides, or I guess right here, for easier for you to see. And again, make sure that butt is pushed forward so we're not cheating on that plank.
You know, it's interesting. While you were doing that, I was holding my breath. And I've got to tell myself, and speaking to you as well, don't hold your breath, breathe normally. And again, that's one of the issues with isometric exercises. People, as you saw with me, tend to hold their breath. So we want to make sure that you breathe, because this is an exercise that was shown to reduce blood pressure. So I certainly don't want to hold my breath, which might elevate blood pressure.
One great way of doing the breathing is to breathe from the diaphragm and control that. That's also going to help lower stress in your body, which can lower the blood pressure.
Well, there you go. You've seen now the wall sit, now the planks, to help you, again, from the study, to control, better said, reduce blood pressure. Guess what? Next week, we're going to go into the home of my sports and lifestyle dietitian, who's been with me for over 10 years, who's worked with many, many athletes and celebrities and everyday people for weight management, Jody Mulhausen. And we're going to go in and create, over the next 2 weeks, number one, a post-exercise smoothie, and the following week, we're going to do a meal replacement beverage. So join us next week for that. For Spencer Shilstone, I'm Mackie Shilstone. Stay strong.